my channel with another Does It Work challenge with your teaspoons and measuring cups. I have one more solution to help you organize those drawers, so stay tuned and you can do it too. Do your drawers look like this? What a mess! How are you supposed to cook when everything is jumbled together? I have a solution for you. In my last video, I detailed how to do this to the inside of your cupboards. You could make it look fancy or do it simple like this. I think it's great as long as you choose the right teaspoons and measuring cups. I detailed that in my last video. But for today, I have one more solution. And here are some of the supplies that you'll need. So here's my cabinet door. It is an inset cabinet door and I have my teaspoons all ready to go. It's okay if it doesn't match your cabinets in your kitchen, it just needs to flow. So stay tuned and you can do it too. So I have my teaspoons picked out here and I would like to align them on each stripe of the beadboard that's inside. And so each teaspoon will set on a hook in the middle, and then they will dangle into the inset part of the cabinet door. And so I think that will work just perfect, so they have a place to set and they won't necessarily be swinging around if something hits them too much, because they'll be hanging on the wall. So I have my teaspoons all lined up, one on each stripe. So the hook will be installed on the top part of the facing of the cabinet door. And between each stripe is just slightly over 1.5 inches. So we will split the difference here in just a moment and measure where we will put our holes for our hooks to hang on. My preferred measuring tool is a sewing tool actually. It's a quilting ruler. And I like it because it's clear and it divides everything so that it is square. So when I line it up, like I said, between each stripe is just slightly over 1.5 inches. And so I slid the ruler over to the outside line of the beadboard, and that made it work out. So it's going to be about 3/4 of an inch and 1/2 of an eighth or 1/16 in between there, and that should make the middle. Now I'm thinking about also adding measuring cups to the bottom, and that could work. You see, I have enough reveal on the bottom, so the cups would hang on the bottom frame of there, and then they would have enough depth between that and the wall to hopefully sit there pretty nicely. Okay, so I went through and made little T's, as you can see, in between the middle of each stripe, and where the line intersects perpendicular is where I will make a hole and then later screw those hooks in and then hang my teaspoons. So before we can drill, there's a few things we need. We need a needle nose, pliers, a nail, and a hammer. And so that is so we can make a indentation, a little hole. We're not going to actually nail into the board, but we're going to just make a little hole where the two lines intersect for that T that we made. Okay, so I have flipped the board the other way around. So now the T's were on the top of your screen. Now they're on the bottom. And so that is so it's just easier for me to make those holes. And so I'm going to place the nail between each of the T's and I'm going to make a little hole. And again, that is so crucial in my opinion because I have trouble with my drill bit slipping, and that just makes it perfect so they don't slip. So now it is time to drill. So gonna get my handy dandy drill over here, and hopefully it has enough battery. Nope, just kidding. Oh man, note to self, next time I do a YouTube video, I need to charge my batteries. So hopefully I have another one. I think I do. So let's check and see. Yep, okay, so I think this one's gonna work. And we'll go through and we're going to drill through. Now, one thing to make sure is that you need to mark on your drill with the hooks, okay? So see how long those hooks are? Those are the 7/8 inch cup hooks that I plan on using. And you wanna look at the threads to see how long they are to know how long to drill into your board. More importantly, you wanna make sure you don't drill into the cabinet. I've done this a time or two, so I felt confident enough to do this myself, although it does make me a little nervous as I'm standing here that I might drill into the cabinet, but probably not. So you could put a block of wood underneath so that you don't do that, or drill it on something you don't care if you get any holes in. And so my tip for making sure you don't drill through is use a Sharpie to mark how far you need to drill in on your drill bit. And that will give you a place to look for so that you don't accidentally drill too far. Another thing to check is to make sure that your screw that you plan on putting in is not deeper than the area that you plan on screwing it into, because if it is, then you're going to drill right through and into the table you're working on. You'll see I have these Sawtooth hooks. They are the large ones. They hold about 10 pounds each per hook, and so that's about 20 pounds, and so you'd add all that in. I think that should be plenty, and I'd rather over-engineer than under-engineer the project, and so we're going to attach those on the other side. So I want the hooks to be at the top, and so therefore these hangers that we're going to put on the back to hang it on the wall need to be at the top as well. So you'll need to keep that in mind when you are making your project, whether you want yours on the top or the bottom. And so we're going to measure with my handy dandy quilting ruler. I just find it's the best. Of course, you can use whatever measuring tool works best for you. And so I'm gonna go ahead and measure in, and I think 3 inches in should be the best, because I don't want to screw in a hanger where the rails are connecting on the outside of the cabinet door, because that is a weak spot and we could potentially make the cabinet door come apart. So 3 inches in should work. So any inch would work as long as you are not drilling through where the rails come together. And that is the outside part of the cabinet door. And so we're gonna make little L's with the measuring tool, and then we can go ahead and mark them, and then I will make little circles where the lines intersect with the Sawtooth hanger, and then I will go through and tap them like I showed you earlier with the needle nose pliers, the nail, and the hammer. That's to get our hole ready again, so our drill bit doesn't slip, because that's so important. You don't want your project that's looking so beautiful to get all messed up just because you forgot that step. And so here we go. Let's go ahead and tap our holes. And now it's time to drill. Again, pro tip, put a Sharpie mark with how far you need to drill in there so that you don't accidentally drill too far. Okay, so it's time to install those Sawtooth hangers on the back. And we want to put 2 on the back so we make sure we have a level cabinet door or our piece of art hanging on the wall. And so I went ahead and started one, and let's finish this out and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, all done. I think it looks great. We got 2 on there. I went ahead and also put felt pads on the corners. That's optional, but I like to do that so that my projects aren't scratching the wall, therefore scratching paint off or adding paint to the wall that I didn't want there in the first place. Okay, so now it's time for the next step. So the next step would be to screw in those cup hooks. Now, why wouldn't you want to screw in those cup hooks before the hangers? Well, it could make screwing those hangers in kind of difficult because half of the board would be sticking up from the hooks sticking out. And so we want to do the hangers on the back first and then screw in these cup hooks last. Now, if you wanted to choose larger cup hooks, you certainly could. There are some other sizes, like 1.25 inches, and it just depends on how big the items are. Maybe if you were doing the measuring cups at the bottom, you'd want larger cup hooks. It's just totally up to you. And but I think the 7/8 inch cup hooks work the best, and they're a little bit cheaper. So, pro tip for screwing these in, it can kind of hurt your hands, especially my hands are kind of red, as you can see, because it's cold here, and when I film this, and my hands are dry. And so one thing I do sometimes is I put gloves on, and that helps a little bit. When I do a lot of these, sometimes I'll bandage up my index finger where it presses against that cup hook, and that helps so I don't get a big ugly blister. And that's not so fun. So gloves are great, help out a little bit. If your hands are dry, this might be a little painful. There are little tools that can help you screw these in, but I find doing it by hand just works the best. That's just what works for me, to make sure everything gets put in there nice and straight. And so we're gonna screw in these last few, and then we'll be ready to hang it up. Okay, now all the hooks are screwed in. Now, I still don't know whether I want to put in the measuring cups. I just don't know if it's going to work for where I plan on hanging this. I think it could be an extra organizational tool, but right now I'm just going to do the measuring spoons. So now that we have our hooks all screwed in, we can take all 6 of our teaspoons and hang them up there, and then it's ready to go on the wall. Okay, check it out. I went ahead and hung it on the wall. Now, pro tip, it's much easier to hang this on the wall if your teaspoons aren't hanging on there. Found that out, found it was really annoying to try to do that with them swinging every which way as you're trying to put it on there. So, put them on after you hang it up, but I think it looks great. What do you think? Do you think you would do this in your kitchen? Let me know. And let me know if you complete this project. I think it was a fun one. It's probably my favorite out of the two. I like this one versus the doors. It's a lot more functional because you don't have to worry about closing a cabinet door too hard and things banging. You can choose Whatever teaspoons or measuring cups you want to hang up there, you don't have to choose them based on which ones won't bang the loudest on the door. And I personally like the look of these stainless steel ones. They are so pretty, and I like the simple look to them against the cabinet door. Now, these are the measuring spoons I was looking at adding, but I just am not sure if it's gonna work for this space, because what I found out is that unfortunately my cabinet door is gonna hit them, and I'm afraid the cabinet door is gonna get scuffed. And then I also realized, bummer, this one's gonna hit right where the light switch would be. And so if I had planned a little bit further, maybe I could have hung it up higher, but between that and the door, I don't think it's gonna work for this spot, but I think it could be a great solution for your kitchen if you needed a place, as long as you don't put it right behind a cabinet door where a wall is. So for now, thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun creating this organizer for my teaspoons, and I think it turned out great. I have already been using it for a while here, and I'll have to tell you, I used the ones inside the door that I created first a little bit more. That's just because that was out of habit. I like these way more hung up there on the wall. I think it works a lot better. I don't have to worry about them banging on the inside of the door. So it's up to you. Which one are you going to create? If you love this video, or if you like the content here, would you give me a thumbs up? That really helps my channel as I'm looking to grow it further and beyond. If you have ideas of things you'd like me to try, Pinterest hacks, it doesn't work, or any DIY project, comment below and let me know, and I'd love to give it a try. For now, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.